So this is a video on sleep. It's going to be uploaded a little bit later than usual, so a day late or whatever, maybe 2 days. But a video on sleep and the importance of sleep, why you should be getting sleep, and some of the benefits that you may or may not know about, how you can get more sleep, how to better optimize your sleep. Some simple outlines. Something to go into first is that you have a consistent bedtime. You might go, I'm not 9 years old, I don't need a bedtime. But your body would strongly prefer it. For your body to get the best recovery, you want that bedtime in. You want to be going to sleep at around the same time every day. Now, if you think you do your best work at 10 p.m. and you get up, get your full 10 hours sleep or 8 hours sleep, 9 hours sleep, however much, you're from 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. That's 8 hours, probably a little bit less. So 7 a.m. say, and you feel you work best in that time frame, perfect. That's a thing called your chronotype when you feel like going to bed and when you feel like getting up. Personally, I'm quite early. I like to go to bed early and get up early. That's when I feel the best. So consistent bedtime is important to make sure you get your best sleep. Now, how to feel tired is another thing. It's dimming your lights. Your body has some cues as to when it's should feel tired, and that's getting sunlight in the morning. That will really help spiking your cortisol in the morning. I talked about it in the caffeine, but a late spike is not only a sign of depression, but it can also impact your sleep majorly. So morning sunlight, a bit of morning exercise. Try not to exercise within 3 hours of going to bed. Caffeine as well. Keep it within keep it past 8, 10, 12. Keep it far away from your bedtime. And so that's how you can help feel tired. Reducing the light in your place. If you dim half the lights, dim them or turn off half the lights, and you'll feel way more tired in the evenings. And then also the temperature of your room when you're going to bed. If your room's coming in at 20 degrees Celsius and you're going to bed, you're going to be a little bit hot and you're not going to be too comfortable to sleep and you won't fall asleep. So it's like you have to be a little bit colder. Your room can be a little bit colder and you'll fall asleep fine, but if it's a little bit hot and you'll be more uncomfortable. So a good temperature is about 18 to 18.5 degrees Celsius. That range, if you're coming in at 19, I'm not going to show up at your house and knock your door down. It's just, that's a range that you can try aim for or go for and attempt. So that's like your temperature being controlled, going to bed at the same time, not taking any stimulants. So that's your caffeine. And another thing is alcohol. Alcohol is going to strongly impact your sleep and ruin it for the worse. It's going to make it so much worse. It's going to impact your ability during sleep to recover properly and have proper sleep in deep sleep, light sleep, REM sleep. It'll impair everything, and it's just not what you want to be doing. So, how do you get more sleep? Well, when you're getting sleep, you're not sleeping all the time. Your body wakes up slightly in the night, so you won't remember it. You're not going to remember, oh, I woke up at 3:17 a.m. But it'll be like your body will wake up from 3:17 to 3:18 or 3:19, and it'll do that a load of times during the night. So during the night, you're not completely asleep. Now, maximizing your environment to spend uh, the least of time awake is that's what I just outlined. Very important. But another thing is to make sure you get enough sleep. Now, if you need 8 hours of sleep as an adult person, if you're in bed 8 hours, you're not getting 8 hours sleep. It's and that's not just, oh well, that's obvious how long it takes you to get to bed. No, that's those mini wakes. So you have a 90% sleep efficiency or an 80% sleep efficiency for some people. So you're only getting a certain amount of time. So if it's 80% and you want 8 hours of sleep, you're going to have to be in bed for 10 hours. 10 hours of sleep to get 8 hours. So you need to be in bed longer. And then as your efficiency increases, you might want to keep it at 10 hours and just get more sleep. Because I assume if you're on a self-improvement journey, as you work to improve your sleep, you're also going to be training more. And your body's going to want recovery. Sleep is an amazing thing. And I'll explain now why it's also good for productivity and not you snooze, you lose. It's actually you lose if you don't snooze. Um, but like you're gonna want more sleep. So that 10 hours to get 8 hours, probably a good principle to stay in bed 10 hours. I myself struggle with that. If you wake up early, it's like it's okay to go to sleep. I think something else that a lot of people find, if you especially are still in school like myself, if I wake up and I feel tired, so say I go to bed a little bit late, I go to bed at 10 instead of like 9, or when I'm not being a bitch, I go to bed at like half 8 and whatever, staying up till like half 9, 10 o'clock, whatever, staying up later. And then the next morning it's like 6 a.m. and I'm tired. Well, then I'm like, I think in 90 minutes, that's how long it takes your body to cycle from light sleep, deep sleep to REM sleep. And you always want to do it in 90-minute cycles or else it's not worth it. Well, 90 minutes. I'll explain later. So I think in 90 minutes. So if I wake up at 6 a.m., so take yourself, maybe you're 7 and you have to work at 9. You go, okay, I've woken up at 6. I'm really tired today. It's a rest day today, so rest is good. I don't actually have work. I was very productive yesterday. Okay, well, I still want to get a shower and shave and do these things. What can I do? Okay, so if I go to bed at 6 a.m., yeah? If I go back to bed, it'll be half 7. Can I afford to do that? Well, half 7, I need to get breakfast and need to still go outside. No, I don't have time for half 7. So then it's like, get up then, because you'll be worse off if you don't. So that's something to improve. Like, you'll be like, okay, you'll get less sleep, but the next night you make sure you go to bed on time, don't be staying up late, and then get up at 6 and you'll be feeling fine. I think that's important to think in those 90-minute blocks is helping you a lot. Another way to get more sleep is to sleep again in the middle of the day. Humans are biphasic, which means you can sleep like multiple times. This isn't to say like polyphasic sleeps where you're like going to bed 90 minutes 6 times and like being like 90 minutes 6 times and being fine sleeping that way. That's a different thing that I don't know much about. It seems a little bit wrong to me, but I'm not a sleep doctor. I read, that's all. Biphasic basically means you can get your majority of your sleep at night, but a midday nap or an afternoon nap mightn't be a bad thing. For an afternoon nap, either get less than 20 minutes so you're still in your light sleep, or get 90 minutes. You might go, well, why not 45 minutes? What's wrong with 45? Well, what happens is between 20 and 90, you go into, or 20 and 90 is the end of your REM cycle. So about 20 minutes in, you go into deep sleep. And deep sleep is very deep sleep. Mind blowing. But what it does is sleep inertia. It's a term where you kind of still feel asleep for the next hour afterwards. So sleep inertia has kind of like a groggy effect for an hour. So if you go to bed, if you go for a nap for 40 minutes, when you get up, you're going to be groggy for an hour, which is why I talk about the 90-minute cycles in the morning. You don't want to have sleep inertia that ruins your morning. And you don't want to have sleep inertia that ruins your afternoon. So get like under 20 minutes or over 90 minutes. It's kind of a good principle for napping. Don't nap 6 hours before bed, I believe is the recommended rate. So if I go to bed at 8, it's like 2 p.m. So I just don't have time to nap. I could nap some days, like 3 days a week. On weekends I can nap if I wanted to. But I generally don't need it. But if you do, that's a good principle to have. 5 to 6 hours before bed. Take a 0 to 20 or a 90-minute nap, depending on what you feel. And then at night you get your 10 hours sleep. It's a perfect principle. Blue light is something else you want to avoid. That's just your phones and TVs. I find that even at night, if I haven't been watching TV and I'm going to bed and I look at my phone, turn on my podcast, put on the sleep timer, pop it down and go to bed, it's still, I don't sleep as well if I were to grab my book. I have a little book reading light, I don't know where it is. Book reading light, clip it onto my book and just sit there and read my book for 15 minutes or 5 minutes because I get tired. You read for 5 minutes, you're sleepy, put your book down, conked out with sleep. I sleep so much better and so much quicker that way. With the podcast, it can be a bit longer. So, is that placebo? Maybe. But as I discussed with As a Man Thinketh, placebo is not a bad thing. It's like, well, if it's helping my sleep, I don't really care if it makes scientific sense or not. Like, if it works for me, it works for me. It's bro science, who cares? If bro science works better than science, like, that's better for you. So, like, book before you go to bed. Control your environment, go to bed at the same time. Be in a cold environment. If you're taking naps, 15 minutes, 20 minutes or 15 minutes or 90 minutes. Think in 90-minute cycles if you're feeling tired and you want to go back to bed. 10 hours sleep if you want 8 hours sleep. And yeah, that'll help you. Benefits of sleep, this is something to touch on. Obvious things are muscle synthesis, production of hormones. Your body needs sleep. It's simple. But another thing that I thought, I was listening to Mathew Walker talk about. He's a great sleep scientist. He wrote the book Why We Sleep. It's an amazing book. But he talks about in business how costly not sleeping or not getting enough sleep. So much so that Google implements like these sleeping pods for you to take naps in, which seems crazy until you realize like they don't do this for fun. NASA also helps, like, promotes their sleeping program, or like getting enough sleep and naps and everything, because they need, NASA especially needs to make sure that precision work is done right and also that they're moving efficiently. What sleep does, or the lack of sleep, is when you don't have enough sleep, you're more inclined to do the easy tasks. So I wake up, full bed of rest, I get up, work out hard, I do reading, I do studying, I work on homework, I go to school, I do all this. Life is great. I don't sleep well. I wake up in the morning. Well, brush my teeth. I'll read like 3 pages of my book because then I read my book. Maybe I'll read a chapter, but you get 2 pages in, you're like, well, I'm not focusing, so that's good enough. What sleep does, or the lack of it, is you pick easier tasks. So instead of doing the important tasks, you do less important, less time sensitive, easy tasks that you can just get complete, and you do so much less work. And also, if you're working in groups, this is why it matters for a business, and maybe if you run a business, how it should be important for you. When the people you have working for you don't get enough sleep, they're more likely to loaf work out or give work to everyone else by just riding the wave of everyone's work and not doing anything themselves. And that's what happens when people aren't sleeping. So you need to get good sleep, and I told you how to do that by consistent times, controlling your environment, ensuring you have enough sleep, and that keeps your quality of sleep high. Don't take stimulants or suppressants and alcohol. Mainly, it's just alcohol. There's also other drugs, like if you do cocaine, you're probably not going to have the best sleep. Although, I do not know the science of it. Do some tests on that. Yeah, control your environment. 18 to 8.5 degrees, same time in bed. 10 hours of sleep if you want 8 hours sleep. And it's very important to get sleep. It'll improve your mood. Mental health is amazing when you have good sleep. Your desire to do hard work goes up. Everything is better. Like, it's kind of something you put off because you're like, oh, I don't need sleep. I'll sleep when I'm dead. Well, you probably will, because if you don't get enough sleep, you'll die younger. That's something that Mathew Walker talks about again. But life would be better if you just slept more. Problems can be solved. Things are more enjoyable. For me personally, it's just something else. Because like, I can put sleep off. Like, you can put sleep off. I'll stay up, I'll do like an hour's work. But say I did that Friday, stayed up like 2 hours longer than normally I would have. I was out with with mates, whatever. And Saturday, everything is bad. Like I struggle. Like I'm injured on a leg injury, still training upper body. We're trying to train upper body. Gonna make a video on training through injuries. But you injure your leg, and I'm like, the next day I was in so much pain. My back was in pain, hips, knees. Like I hadn't had hips, knees, or back pain for like a while, but didn't sleep one night. It's back. Now I sound like a 90-year-old man saying these things, but maybe there's something like a small thing that comes back when you don't sleep. It's important to remember like that'll compound, and think about it the other way. What if I like didn't do these things? Like, what if I had like a really good sleep? Well then, wait a minute. I might, instead of just feeling human from getting average sleep, I might feel above human, which is the goal we're going for, is trying to be people on self-improvement, going for the top 1%. Anyway, that's sleep, how to improve yourself as a man or as a woman. Stay on your journey of success.